Hi, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Me. It's State Saturday. I'm Susan Buchser-Lochocki, running for President of the United States of the Green Party, and this is my kitchen. Welcome. Yeah, so it's June 13th, and it's State Saturday. So to start off with, I'm going to say the Schoolhouse Rock video I'm recommending for today is I'm Just a Bill. And I think it was one of the last ones that they made or something. I can't remember, but it was a long time ago. Anyway, it's a good one. Enjoy it. It helps to understand how the government works and how things become laws. So it's timely, for sure. Then, I'm not sure, but I think there's some sort of deadline coming up. I don't know if it's this month or next month for our taxes. So if you haven't done your taxes yet, be sure to get them done. The extra extension that was offered is going to be coming up soon. So don't forget to do your taxes. And yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about white privilege and my experience with white privilege. So living in Switzerland, I came here, I was not married at the beginning when I first got here for the first year and a half, 2 years. And then after that, it took about 5 years of marriage where then I could become a Swiss citizen. So I'm a dual citizen. I'm Swiss and USA, and that's allowed. Not all countries allow that, but both Switzerland and the USA allow that, so that's kind of nice. Anyway, during my living here and our marriage, we never got a visit from the immigration people to make sure that we were really a couple and everything, something like that. Apparently, some of my other friends who came from like Brazil or Korea or Taiwan, they got visits to make sure that they were really in a relationship with the person they were with, and to make sure that it was really a marriage. For me too, I was thinking that maybe it was because we had such a difficult time. We got married, and well, my husband was a big part of our town, so maybe they knew that. But then, our first child died, and we didn't break up, and we had a child, and so, I think, I was thinking it was that. But looking back, I guess it was probably white privilege that allowed me to not have those visits. I don't know how many times they come. Maybe it's different for each couple. I don't know. But I'm going to say that some of that is a little bit safety, because there are Minnie's talking. She has something to say. There are apparently, sometimes people brought abroad who are not here. They claim they're here to get married, but they're actually here to do something else, and I don't know what. I came across that once, actually, at the border coming in. I think we had a connecting flight from, I don't know where, maybe Germany or something. And when we were coming across the border, the couple in front of us was a Chinese woman with, I don't know who he was, but a white man, and they were really questioning whether she knew what she was doing, and I have to admit, it didn't quite look like, it was on the up and up. It did look a little suspicious to me. So that is certainly You know, there are sometimes reasons behind checking up on things, is I guess what I'm trying to say. But yeah, to target certain countries or certain people, or, you know, because of color of the skin, that's not a good reason. You know, perhaps everybody should just be checked, and then it's equal amongst everybody. Because there could also be somebody coming in from the U.S. who is not here knowingly why and doing whatever, things that are not appropriate. But yes. So then I want to talk a little bit about women privilege. You know, I think a lot of men don't realize what it's like to be a woman. And I think that also needs to be addressed a little. Because also, like in the Black community or in the minority groups, the cycle of being put down constantly, and it just spirals and spirals. And that's what happens with women too, because we're constantly put down and ignored, and our opinions are not important, or, you know, whatever. And there's this cycle that happens where, you know, we just keep getting put down more and more, and then we become invisible, basically. So it's women's privilege is not really a privilege, actually, but for the lack of a better way of putting it, there's that. So the one privilege that I want to share with you that I got as a woman was, it came out recently, I should say. There was a question online, and I hesitated whether I should answer it or not, and I did. And it was, when was the first time you knew or you felt like a man being sexually attracted to you? And when I looked at it, you know, I saw people had written, you know, well, I was 5 when I noticed a guy walking around and staring at me and my girlfriends playing in the sandbox or something like that. And there were some others that were also equally sort of disturbing stories. And then I thought, well, you know, I guess for me the first time was actually when I was 9 years old. And I actually, I was raped at the age of 9 years old. So, you know, it's not easy being a woman in the current society that we have. These things do happen, and something's going wrong. Now, I am now 54, and so this happened a long time ago. But I know it's happening today, and I know it happens to women across the board. It's not just a white woman's issue. It's all women. But actually, it's not even a woman's issue. It's really a man's issue, or a boy's issue. And this is where we need to get down to business, because I think that men and boys have issues that are not being addressed, and then these things happen. Now, I'm going to say that in my case, my rapist was a 14-year-old boy, and his sister, who was maybe around my age too, and they were already in an incestuous relationship together. And they had invited me, she had invited me over to sleep over. And so I was thinking I was having a sleepover with a girlfriend. Yeah. So I think probably what happened was, this is how I can now imagine it, is that probably at school they were talking about sex education. And I mean, not sex education, they were talking about reproduction education. So they were explaining the male part of reproduction. And then the 14-year-old, or maybe he was 13 at the time, got interested and probably started raping his sister. And then, got bored with that, I suppose, and then started asking his sister to invite girlfriends over. So, you parents out there, if you have daughters, and sons even, you need to address this. Because just because, and teachers, I should say too, if you're teaching sex education, then you need to teach all of the sex education about giving women pleasure too, and making sure that boys learn to respect women, and girls for that matter. So I think this is a actual male issue, first off, and then it's also sort of a bullying issue. I wasn't going to go into this much detail, but now I'm actually happy that I did. So I'm probably going to talk again about this in the future, but I just wanted to mention it. And as far as my experience is, yes, moms, dads, have these talks with your children. Make sure that they know how to be respectful, and it's never too early to talk to any child about being touched in a bad way. So really you need to have those difficult discussions. Even if you have to stumble into them, you have to do it. All right, so then, my song of the day is by the great Tom Petty. I like a lot of his stuff. And it's called You Don't Know How It Feels. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. I wish you a nice day. I wish you all peace. Bye.